Have you ever noticed the moment when you start to show a woman that you really care, she starts to pull away? You go from being her primary focus to barely getting a text back. And it doesn't make any sense, right? Because you're doing everything right, doing everything by the book, doing what you feel you should be doing as a man who's interested in a woman, right? I'm here to tell you this is a psychological shift. And this is not just a mind game. This is something women do when we feel like we're being fueled too much. Energy is everything. And when you give someone your energy all the time, and attention being number one, when you give a woman all your attention and you are moving out of desperation or out of insecurity, we sense that. We sense it like a sixth sense. And we don't want to feel like it's predictable. Predictability is what turns off women, generally speaking. When you can move at your own energy and not try to match her energy or try to match some sort of energy that you think she might be attracted to, we read through that. We read through it, and not specifically the fact that we think that you're insecure, but just the fact that it's predictable. Be your own energy. Be your own self, your own aura. Everyone says, oh, be yourself. Be yourself. The one will come. That's true. Only because energy is everything. And if you try to match another person's energy, that's not you. Quite honestly, that's the most predictable thing that anyone can do. When you go out in public and they're like, oh, hi, how are you doing? You're like, good, how are you? Good, how are you? Yeah, I'm good, how are you? You see that energy? That's not energy. That is a chameleon. That is mirroring someone else. Mirroring someone else is not creating compatibility. It's not creating this polarity. Women want polarity. They don't want the same thing as them. And I'm not saying that men are acting like feminine men or anything like that. I'm talking in the energy sense that you think that she would like something. It's okay to be romantic. It's okay to show her something. Oh, I thought you would like this. Here's a dozen roses, right? Oh, here's a movie I thought you would like. That's different. When you're acting the way you think she wants you to act, that's predictability. Women will predict that. They're like, oh, yeah, he's texting me again. Yeah, he's just asking how I am and whatever. We want some sort of mystery, okay? The word mystery is very broad. It really is. But quite honestly, it's better than being so specific, so predictable that we're yawning at it. Oh, he's texting me again. I was interested, but now I don't know why I'm not interested. Not even women can pinpoint why we might not be interested in you anymore. We're just not. Plain and simple, we're just not interested anymore. And it's not because of how you look. It's not because of how you're dressed. It's not because of what you do for a living. It could, but I'm telling you right now, if she was interested, there was a reason why she was. And I think you're missing the mark on that. Some men get ahead of themselves very quickly. And they start to overanalyze the relationship and they start to match energy. It doesn't become this polarity. It doesn't become this confident compatibility. If anything, it's this forced, desperate, like, oh, I need this woman. I need this woman. I need her. I think we're perfect for each other. If you already think you're perfect for each other, I think it's time to walk away. Okay, I think there's a lot to weigh out when it comes to getting into a relationship. And I'm speaking on when you're not even in a relationship yet, right? You're just meeting each other. You just got each other's numbers. You might have met a couple times, maybe a couple dates. This is a healthy reason for a woman to walk away because it's not a relationship yet. She doesn't feel like she's technically breaking your heart. But then it's like, If you're getting too ahead of yourself thinking that it can actually amount to something, that's when it literally does not. That's when it does not. I feel, because I've seen it so many times and I've heard so many stories of women just like, you know what? No, this is the reason why. Women will give you a reason why they can't be with you. Except for the fact for why they're not interested in you in general. They'll think of a million reasons why they can't be with you just because they can't acknowledge why they're not interested in you right now. Women just pull away naturally. They want to see how emotionally invested you are, because if you are acting emotionally invested while you're texting her, calling her, or even in person, right? If you are acting very emotionally interested, she's like, oh, wow, he's interested. Let me see how interested he is. And it's not a necessary mind game that we intentionally do. It's just when we start not feeling interested, we want to feel the polarity. We want to feel like we're interested. If anything, we're testing ourselves. If I stop talking to him, cold turkey, and I'm not involved with him at all right now, will I miss him? Will I miss him? That's how we talk to our girlfriends. That's how we talk to our friends. We're like, oh, well, I haven't texted him in a while. I either feel better or I feel lonely. It's kind of obviously one of two ways. But when we pull away, we want to feel like, dang, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because we want you to go the way you're supposed to go, which is your own way, your own energy, your own path. If you are a confident man who knows what he wants in his life, you know that you just want to get to your goals. You are a driven man. You are a focused man. You're not a desperate man, okay? Desperation calls for, no thank you. I'm good on that. A desperate man doesn't need to act out of insecurity, act out of, I need this now. No. Confident man knows that what's his will find him, because energy is everything. When you are going in a direction in your life that feels aligned, that feels like you are getting to your goals, regardless of what it is, even if it's financial, even if it's creative, even if it's romantically, you know that you can't control another person, period. Why would a man want to feel like he can control anybody? You can't. You can't control anything. You can't control any circumstance. You can't control every situation. You can only control yourself, your path, your next step. Left foot, right foot. That's what you can control. And a man who understands that is a man that women are attracted to, period. Because when we are pulling away, we're kind of sensing, what is he doing? What's he gonna do when I pull away? What's he doing now? Is he desperately looking for my attention? Because that's what we expect. That's what we predict. And if you're not doing that, that's when we start calculating why is he not texting me back? Why is he not desperately trying to figure out why I'm not texting him? Because the whole plot of it all is the woman pulled away. You did everything right. You might have given your energy, you might have given her attention, but quite honestly, you have enough confidence to know that if she pulls away, she pulls away. You can't control that. You can't control that. Regardless if you want her that bad, regardless if you feel like you're so compatible and you're perfect for each other, you cannot control that. Confident man knows that in itself. And not that you can go and talk to any other woman you want. Of course, you do what you want, do what you wish. But if you really believe that she's a perfect woman for you, you know where your mind's at. You know where your focus is at. So showing her that you're just a focused man doing what you got to do, she's going to be like, dang, he was actually interested in me. Why did I pull away? She starts questioning herself. And then in return, that energy is more reciprocated because there's a polarity there. There's a polarity. There is a magnet. There's a magnet because she knows that you were interested. You were interested. And men are simple. Men are more simpler than women when it comes to emotions. If you were interested in her, she knew you were interested. She's not doubting that fact. She's doubting the fact that why did she not find you interesting anymore? Why did she not keep texting you? And that's something that's deep in a woman. That's something that a woman needs to acknowledge in order for her to even get into a relationship and be in a successful relationship. If she keeps pulling away and there is no light bulb, she's not for you. She's not for you, period. Because you don't need to convince a woman that she is for you. I don't know who needs to hear that, but no one needs to convince anybody that you are belonging together. You just know. They just know. And it's not in a sense of, oh yeah, we're going to get married, we're going to have kids, this is, I can see the future. No, it's just a compatibility thing. It's a polarity thing. The masculinity and the femininity. Knowing that, wow, there is some sort of spark, there's a tug and pull here still, and I think I can really make something of that. I don't genuinely feel this with everyone, and that's the facts. You don't feel a polarity with everyone. Even if you put effort, even if you both put effort, sometimes that spark, that polarity is not there. There is no tug and pull, and the tug and pull isn't supposed to be toxic. It's just supposed to be a way of trying to understand each other because you're a man and woman. Otherwise, you would just be friends. Otherwise, you would just be companions. You would just be acquaintances. And you would, learn to live with each other and not really care to understand each other. Understanding another human being is the hardest thing you'll have to do besides understanding yourself. And I think a lot of people skip over understanding yourself. If you don't understand yourself, you don't belong in a relationship. And it doesn't have to be complete and full, but there needs to be a process there. And a man who is not trying to understand himself, that's a red flag. If you want to talk about red flag, green flags, you need to start understanding yourself. Why am I desperate for this woman? Why am I chasing her? Why am I chasing validation? Why do I feel like I need a relationship? Why do I feel, you need to ask yourself these questions in order for anyone to really be interested in what you're doing for yourself, because what you're doing for yourself is what you do to understand yourself. Whether it being for your health, for your soul, for creativity, anything that you do for yourself is how you understand yourself. It's a choice to try new things in life and to figure out, if I like it or not, or, is this for me? How is this building me as a person? And it's also who you surround yourself with. Who do you surround yourself with today? Are they just validating what you feel? Or are they questioning, hey man, this is the third time you've questioned this woman. Why are you still stuck up on this woman? Do people really want to build you up, or are they just reiterating what you're saying? So, when a woman gets your attention, a woman knows she can get your attention. If anything, I see it in modern day things, like on videos. Oh my God. There would be a caption that is like, when you're bored and you have a void to fill, and one of the first things they do is text a man that they know is interested in them. Yeah, women know you're interested. But if you are constantly moving in an energy of desperation, like you will always show this woman you're interested, she will just use your energy and use it as fuel, because energy is fuel. The more you give it to a woman when she desperately wants it, when she's desperately trying to get at it, like, hey, how are you doing? Blah, 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 trying to get you to fill her cup, she'll get it and walk away. She doesn't need it anymore. There's no mystery there. That's a predictability. When you become predictable, you're not necessarily wanted. You're just like a perfume on the shelf. Just spritz, 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 put it back. Spritz, spritz, spritz. I feel good, I smell good. And then once it goes away, you just go spritz it again. It doesn't stay. It's not permanent. It's just an accessory. A man who gives a woman attention and doesn't really get anything out of it, right? Just a bunch of compliments, maybe get together. Not really though, because women don't usually get together with a man who is desperately getting her attention. You're just an accessory. You're just something to make her feel good. Something to make her look in the mirror and be like, you know what, I am hot, I am cute, and this man told me I am, so I'm just gonna take that energy and use it for my benefit, use it for my confidence. Women do that all the time. And why are you doing that? I don't understand. Where is your focus? Where is your confidence? Not every woman needs to sit here and take your energy and leave you questioning. I've said in a video, don't prove you're loyal to a woman. Don't prove that you're really interested in a woman until she proves that she's interested herself. And not just through words, not just through text, through action. If she doesn't want to even meet you, bye. No. Your energy is sacred. Your energy is everything. And the more you give to others, the less you have for yourself. I say my piece. So a woman who pulls away, she feels like she has enough energy. She has enough energy. You fueled her up. And I'm not saying, even if you did a little bit, it was just enough for her to feel like, you know what, I need to think about this. I need to think about this. And usually women can't pinpoint it. But the more focused man isn't even thinking like that. A confident man isn't thinking like that. You can't control a woman. You can't control a woman, but you can create a polarity. You can create a magnet for her to question, why did she pull away? You don't have to question her, right? You don't have to sit there and, hey, why'd you do this? No, that's desperation. That's an energy of desperation, insecurity. You're looking for validation. You're looking for reassurance. You don't need that. You don't need that. You give it to yourself. And a woman who can't give it to herself, why would you want her anyway? You both need to be able to work on yourselves. That's what it takes to be in a relationship. Man has to try to understand himself. Woman has to try to understand herself. There needs to be a process. You don't need to completely understand yourself. That is a lifelong journey. That is a lifelong commitment to understand yourself. And it's also a commitment to understand another person. So in order for you to understand a woman and a woman to understand a man, there needs to be some sort of effort in understanding yourself. Period. I rest my case. I think that's it for today. But energy is everything, guys. Why are you just giving it away? Give it to yourself. You know what I mean? The more energy you give yourself, the more energy people can see. Because whether you believe in it or not, energy is what we are right now. Me speaking is energy. You watching this is energy. You retaining it is energy. It's energy. And it's either in motion or it's potential. There's kinetic energy and potential energy. And a lot of us are living in potential energy. We're just sitting at the top of the hill. We're not falling yet. We're not really moving. We're not doing anything about it. But we just have this potential energy, just accumulating energy. But people who move and make action and do things and, make decisions in life and don't sit there and let it consume them overthinking something, that is a person who has real energy. Aura, energy. Make a decision. Make a decision to move on. Make a decision to do something. And do it for your benefit. Do it for your energy. And that's it. Thank you.